Yo, how's it going? We gonna jump right into this. Last video we talked about grace, and today we're talking about what it means to be empowered by grace. And as we're having this conversation, you're gonna see some cool Sonic mods as well as some games I've been playing lately. So without further ado, we're going to actually start 2 Corinthians 12 verses 9 through 10. Now before I get to these verses, I want to give you just a teeny bit of context. So your boy Paul is being pressed by Satan himself. And the word that the Bible uses to be precise is called buffet. Now the word buffet in the Bible means to strike with a fist or to mistreat violently. Now of course this is spiritual and metaphorically, but this is what's happening to Paul because he actually had a thorn in his flesh. So it's a little bit of both, physical and spiritual. Why is Satan doing this? Because he a hater. No, I ain't the full reason, even though bro is like a legitimate hater. The reason was, Paul says, is because he didn't want him to become too prideful. And the reason why your boy is so pressed about this because your boy Paul had the most bomb time with God. His time with God was so dope that God showed him the third heaven, bro. That's lit. So your boy Paul goes back to God 3 times, just like, look man, Satan pressed me and I got this thorn in my flesh. Can you please take this out? And I mean, he didn't ask him once, he didn't ask him twice, he asked him 3 times. Which now brings us to 2 Corinthians 12, 9 through 10, which says this: each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ can work through me. That's why I take pleasure in my weaknesses and in the insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Now to understand this a little bit deeper, you are going to go back and watch my video on grace. If you already did, then you already caught up. Because having an understanding of what grace is really going to highlight how powerful this statement is from Paul. So pretty much what God is saying about his grace is that it is sufficient. Now this word sufficient is really powerful. I'm gonna go ahead and define it real fast. Sufficient means the state of having enough or being satisfied with what one has. This term implies a sense of inner peace and reliance on God's provision rather than seeking fulfillment in external circumstances or material possessions. That's why Paul is like, shoot, well God, I'm good then. I don't need nothing else because in you I have everything I need. Because don't forget about grace. Grace is God leaning into the believer. And so if God is leaning in, you're set because he's literally right by you, giving you everything that you need. And I love this because we never expect weakness to be power, but I love how God always flips things upside down because this weakness leads to power, God's power. And I know I'm giving you guys a lot of definitions. I know it's a little bit of a nerdy video, but the word power means this. It states this in the Help Word study: for the believer, power is achieved by applying the Lord's inherent abilities. Power through God's ability is needed in every scene of life, really growing in satisfaction and prepared for heaven, glorification. The word power, or in Greek dunamis, is a very important term, and you might have caught the word dunamis, which we get the word dynamite from. So pretty much God's power is explosive in your life. So we see grace as just not a get out of jail free card. And Paul actually talks about that. He says, should we continue to sin that grace abound? Absolutely not. But we see, when we really understand what grace is, we see that grace is actually God's power moving in our life. Him giving himself over so we can face various trials. When we become weak, God becomes our power. And so the question I want to leave you today, as we're about to close out this conversation, which would you rather have? Your strength or God's strength? Which one is actually more sufficient? I want to hear from you in the comment sections down below. Also, if you want this mod that you're seeing on the screen, you can also leave a comment and I will make sure to drop the link for that. With that being said, I'm actually going to let you guys enjoy the rest of this mod. It's one of my favorite mods for Sonic Mania. Next to the Speedster Edition, this shallow mod is very detailed. Love the animations. And like I said, you guys gotta try it out. Comment down below and I'll definitely share that link with you. With that being said, this has been your boy Pastor TC, and I will see you guys on the next adventure. GG's.